This is an exercise in using a number 3 chisel, carving an egg and dart design. First of all, I have the thing staged so we can do it in a shorter period of time. So the first thing we're going to do is round it down. Then the next thing we're going to do is smooth it out, and then we're going to be carving these. So I'm going to start explaining with the tools. One of the important things that we're going to need is a divider. And that's the most accurate form of measuring, because as you're going along, it's not slipping at all. It's exact. So get a divider that has got something that's going to hold. Here's got a wheel that holds it. And then once I set the dimension to do, then I have a reference. So this is a reference I made right on here that I marked the holes, so I always check to see if it moved since the last time that I used it, and so it's still on. So that's my reference that I go back and check to make sure my divider hasn't moved. So we're going to use that. For tonight, I'm going to use a pencil so you can see where my dots are, but normally I don't use a pencil because I can see my dot well enough. We're going to get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we don't want to scratch the bench at all. So I have the chisel arranged so the corner is going in, and I'm just like a knife, making a cut coming across, and I'm controlling the angle, and so that's kind of, it's about 1/4 inch up, maybe 3/16. I'm not measuring for now. And then on the top, because I don't have the bench, I'm just going to take my fingertip, just like the pencil. When you use your finger on the pencil to come across like that, I use the same with the gouge. And I'm just going to come across and start making the line. And that's a little bit too thick, and I'm going to thin it down a little bit. So you can see how I'm starting to get the reference line there. So then what I'm going to do is just start the rounding. So I got the gouge upside down. So this is the number 3 gouge. That's 5/8 wide. So that's about, what is that, 16 millimeter. And the idea in the beginning is not speed, but as you practice this, you're going to be going faster and faster as you learn the cuts and some shortcuts. Yeah, I'm going to try to see that line that I did here and just stay above that line. So I'm kind of using my finger against the bench here as a gauge that I'm not going to go down below that. I'm going to stay above it a little bit. Because after I have it step back in, then I will smooth out the top like that. Now on the top, I can see it pretty good. I'm turning it right side up, so the gouge is this way, and I'm just making that cut right up against that little mark that I made with my finger as a gauge. And with the wood dogs in here, I'm not concerned about hitting it, but I do try to stay from a little bit. If I've got a push block like this one, I don't care if I hit that. And so then it's just a matter of smoothing, very much the same as carving in the round. So one of the exercises is to be able to get a nice smooth look, because you want this to be very smooth before you start making your egg and dart design in it. If you look online for egg and dart designs, you'll find that there is a bunch of different ones. The one we're doing now is just basically a fairly simple one. Some cases they make the egg more rounded. In other cases, they bring that dart all the way up to the top. Okay, so then we're just going to clean up the corners. The value of this exercise is doing the whole carving using the same chisel, the same number 3 gouge. Then you start learning the versatility of a chisel, and then you can easily apply it to all your other chisels. This gouge right here that I'm using, I consider to be the most versatile in the toolbox. And I'm just going to clean up a little bit here on the top. So when I start marking off for the egg and dart, I set the dividers at a full cycle. So in other words, I am not setting it for the inside where the egg is. I'm going from the right edge to the right edge, and then that's repeated all the way across. You see? So when I'm walking this thing, I can go from here to here to here, and then I have to walk the next. So I'll show you that. And I'm going to, because the dot is so small, I'm going to show it with my pencil. So I'm going to start off, and I'm coming in the width. So I'm coming in the width right here that the divider in between is going to be. So that's going to be right where I'm going to start, right there. So I'm going to come to there, to there, to there. Okay, then if I go to the end and I put this mark in, that's where the egg is going to come down. This is where the egg is going to come down. So now so you see it's a full cycle that I'm doing. Then how I find this point down here, if I take from the outside here, I just pick 2 of them. It doesn't have to be the outside one depending on your height you've got. But this kind of works out. I go from here, and then from here I come in. Now, you're not able to see that too good. There, move the light over here. So I've got 2 marks here, and that's going to be right about here. That's going to be the center, because when I went from this point down to here and this point down to here, I'm just guessing the center is going to be here. So what I can do then is set that right in there. Then this will be the center there. And that's how I mark the centers as I go down. So then let's just go to the next piece here. Once I have it marked out, And let me go like that. Mark the next cycle out here. And this one. Then from there to there. There to there. And then right on the bottom of the egg, right there. Now I'm not marking anything out for the darts, because those I just guess. All right, so we're done with the divider. So the next thing is the chisel. And what we're going to do is make the stop cut. So the angle that you're going up here, I just kind of guess at it. So the first angle, I make it wide because I want this thing to go up, so I'm not going to head right for that spot. Because what we're doing is we're actually coming around like this and like this. So I set my corner of my tool right into that mark because I want to remove my dots. And I come right up, the corner of the tool is right in my dot up here. And I come down and I rock this chisel back and forth a little bit to kind of increase the depth. And you see the direction that I'm going is at an angle like this rather than coming straight and perpendicular. I can straighten up the sides, but the egg and dart looks a little nicer if you have a little slope going into it. Then I do the same thing on the other side. Got to remove my hand here so you can see what I'm doing. I start from the bottom here. So you've got your stop cuts kind of set. And so now you're just going to start. I've got the gouge upside down. And so I'm coming from one side. Let me try to stand in front of this and come with the other side. Well, you won't be able to see. There we go. So this right and left hand carving, you're coming in from both sides. So it's that exercise in rounding. I went a little bit below my stop cuts, but that's okay. We can just clean that up. And now to do the dart. What I do is I eyeball the thickness of this. In fact, I should make that a little bit thinner. I didn't go quite up to the dot there. So let me make that a little bit thinner. Coming down. Then I eyeball that thickness and I come down here and I'm going to place the corner of this. Now it's bent. This curve is going to follow that curve going up. So I'm right down on this lip here on the bottom. And the thickness here I have from this gouge to the bottom of the egg design is about the same here. And then I push it and I kind of rock it up a little bit. That's a stop cut in that direction. Now I kind of visualize right down the center and I just turn where it's cupped like this. I turn so it's cupped like that. And I'm going to lay it down right on that little shelf, start in about the middle here and just come up to that. So you're going to just then lay down on the shelf flat. You can take that chip out of there. Then I'm going to do the same on this side. So I'm judging the thickness here of that rib, placing this right here on the lip, and I'm pushing it in. Now I'm trying to hold it low so the handle is just about on the table because I want to make sure that bottom gets in as far as it can. I push in and I come from this side and I take that chip out. Now the thing I shouldn't have done is you can see maybe that mark that I went too high here, but that's a little bit too wide, so I can fix that. So I can make this a little bit thinner. Because this one I want to go past, but this one I don't want to go past. I don't want any cuts out here. Then I estimate about how high these are, hit the center there. So all this is done by estimation. And then I make my stop cut in there, and I come to this side and I do the same. Then I use the gouge like this, and I'm coming in, taking that chip out from this direction and also from this direction. Then I'll go back and redo my stop cuts a little bit, sharpen it up at the top, a little bit of cleanup. Then I go to the next one. The next one I start here, and I don't do the dart until I finish the egg. Trying to keep my hands out of the way here so you can see what's going on. Now, when you're doing, I'm going to stop right now because time is moving along pretty good here. When you're working on a face or an arm, the exercise that we used for rounding this off, there's so many things in every carving that you're rounding down. Your details around the eyes and the things that we're doing in here are repeated in many places, and maybe not quite as exact, but in doing this, it's going to be automatic when you pick up the chisel that you're going to be able to instinctively know what kind of cut to make. And these kinds of exercises are very good for that you know the versatility of the tools. So if you approach this thing by saying, well, I'm going to use the V tool to make the stop cuts and all that, you're defeating the purpose of the exercise, because the exercise isn't making a wonderful egg and dart. The exercise is learning how to use the V tool. And so apprentices do this all the time, do these kind of exercises.